Let's now create our actual landing page. We go to our pages and we click on the Add New button. Let's call this one landing page and use the Divi Builder. It's saving and then it's starting the Divi Builder. And we will say build from scratch. Maybe here in my first row, I just have a very quick intro. So I add some text. Hi, I'm John Doe. Is he written like this? No, I think this H is there. This looks more correct. So I center align this, go to my regular text, and I just make this a lot larger. So this is now my intro to the website. Maybe I give it a little bit of room up here and down here. And then I want to start with a grid. I will hover over the bottom of my section and I click the Add button. I want to add a regular section. Here I want it to be a three column row. I choose this, and now we have a lot of different options how we can do this. I will first show you the option that might be the easiest without having to prepare things in Photoshop. Let me add some text. And let's call this one first. Then I will make this one center align. I go to the design, to my text, and I make it just a little bit larger. What I now want is, I want to add a background, but I want to add this background to the text and not to the row or the section. So I go to my content, I go to the background, and I will add my image that I used for the first project, which is this one here. I click Upload Image, and I can see that apparently the text creates this box that is the width of the part of the column that it is assigned to, and it has the height of our text. So apparently the width is already taken care of, and the only thing that we need to adjust is somehow the height. To do so, we will go to the Design tab, and we will go to the spacing. And there are two different things. We have custom margins and custom paddings. There is a very big difference between them. A custom margin means how the element should be offset, and it will move the entire element. It will move the background, it will move the content. So if I change the top, I hover over the bottom part of this and I click and drag it, you can see how I'm moving this completely around. If I go to my custom padding and I change the top, you can see how I add a distance from the content to the top. So these are the differences. A margin moves the element itself. A custom padding adds more space inside of the group. So here I could say, maybe I set this to 50 and 50 and say, well, sure, this is fine for now. I would then go to my content, to the background. I do want it to be a little bit darker, so I'll use the simplified version of the multiply, and I change my color here to something a little bit darker. Then I want my text to be visible, so I go to the design, to the text, and I make it white. So let's say this is my first tile, and I want to add some hover effects. So of course I don't want it to be visible like this. I just want the preview image. And then when I hover over, it should show me the text and then darken the background. To do so, I will go and add some hover effects. Let's start with the text size, just to add some more animation to this. I hover over the text size here, and I can click on this icon. I can always click on this to revert it to what the default setting is. But when I click on this icon, it gives me the option for the default setting and the hover setting. So the default setting, I think, should be a little bit smaller, and the hover setting should be back to 40. Then I can see the default is this, on hover it's that. I can do the same thing for the text color. So I hover over the text color here, click on the pointer. The default should be a transparent white, and on hover it should be a regular white. So here we can now see how we create this nice text animation here. Then we do the same thing for the background. We go to the content, the background, the color, and we will do the same thing. By default, this should be, a white color. And on hover, this should be a darker color, like this. Okay. This should be it. Let's hit OK. We can see by default it shows the regular state and not the hover state. To actually see this in action, we have to exit the Visual Builder, save and exit. Here we can see that it's saving. Then it reloads the page, and now we can see we hover over and we have our nice hover tile text effect here. And now with these global elements, we can also very easily create our other tiles here. So let's go back to the Visual Builder. Hover over our module, and we save this. Let's call this one thumbnail, making sure this is a global item, and then we save it to the library. Then we can either click on the plus icon and add from library another thumbnail, or we could also, let's just do it right now, just to see the differences, that there are none. So here I've added it to the library, from the library like this, or I could also duplicate the element and just move it over to the side. Now let's go to this element here, click on the cogwheel, and now because this is a module, we are able to also change the background. We can go to our background option and we can say that the background should not be synchronized. Then we choose the background of the second object, of the second project. Then we go to our text, unsynchronize this one, and this one is the second one. Again, center align, and everything else stays intact. So when we exit the Visual Builder, save and exit, we can see it in action again. So we hover over first, and here we have the second. So easy. So now let's just add a couple of more elements. Let's say we have another copy of this. This moves over here. Come on, this almost worked. Hello, there we go. And another copy of this moves over here. And another copy of this moves over there. Alright. Now I want all of them to be a lot closer together, so it's a nice touching grid. I go to the settings, and as we know, when there are default distances between elements, it's probably the gutter. So we go to the design settings, to the sizing, and we say that we want to use a custom gutter width, and we just change it here to 1, and now everything is aligned nicely to one another. But now we might realize, well, this looks very flat, and we want it all to be a little bit larger. For this, I just go to one of my global modules, I go to the settings, and I just go to the design, spacing, and I just change this to, let's say, 100 and 100. For now, it will only be added to the first one, but as soon as I apply this, it will be applied to all of the other modules as well, because those settings are synchronized. Then I can link it over to my pages. To know what the link to a page is, I have to check it. I will right-click on the name of the page, open it in a new tab. I will go to my pages, and I can see I have my first project here. When I click on Edit, I can see, because I've published it, I have a permalink. It is either the large link down here, but you can also copy just the name that it has given it up here. Make sure that you really copy this. It might add dashes or something like this because a URL does not support spaces. So you can see it automatically added a dash here. I copy this, go back to my landing page, edit this, go to link, unsynchronize, and I paste this in here. I do have to add another thing though. I need to go to the beginning and type in slash. The slash lets it know, so you are on your URL, and then it should add to the end of it this name here, and this will open up the link to this page. For the second project, I will not see a link like this because I didn't change anything. Because this one is still a draft. So what I need to do here is first publish this. I can do that also by going to Quick Edit. I can see here what the link would be. Then I change the status from draft to published, and I update this. Going back to Quick Edit, I can copy this, go back to my landing page, go to the module, link. Did I do it on the wrong one? I might be stupid. So here, second project, and OK. And here, first project, all should be good. OK, let's test this. We exit the Visual Builder, save and exit. Now we can hover over these things, and we can see we are now able to click on it. It opens up the first project. We can go back, click on the second one, and it opens up the second project. Awesome. Now we just need to publish this and send this over, or define this as our front page. Let me go back to Edit Page and publish it from here. So now we've seen that we can publish it from multiple different places. We can publish it directly from the Divi Builder. We can publish it from the Quick Edit settings here, and we can also publish it directly from the Edit page up here. Now that it's published, I can go to Divi, the Theme Customizer. I go to the Homepage Settings, and I choose now my landing page. I publish, and then everything is live. So I could now copy this, open it up in a private window. It opens up. I can see my images here. I might want to consider choosing smaller images. You can see they tend to load a little bit because they are not these small images. They are actually the full-size original images. So for these thumbnails, you might want to think about different elements. Speaking of which, let's take a look at another option, how we can create these hoover effects, but with more customized elements and not just with the text and the background image. Let me get rid of what we have so far. So I just delete this entire row, create a new one, and again, I will make it a 3-column layout. This time, I will not add anything just yet. I will go to the settings of the row, and I will go to my background. Then I can see how I can choose a background for the entire row, but I can also choose it for each column that I have. So here I could go to my column 1, add a background, and of course not a color. Instead, I want to use a background image. I've already prepared 2 images. One image that is cropped, and another image that is cropped that has some effect on it. So here we can see this is supposed to be the hoover effect, and this here is supposed to be the regular image. Okay. So I start with this. This is the image that I see in the background, and I upload this. I can see that this is not fitting into the size. As we know, we would need to change this in the spacing here, but this time we will use something different. I say OK here, and to the same column, I will add a module. This time I will add an image module, and I will give this one the image that is supposed to be the hoover effect. Like this. Now you can see it adjusted the size here. I can then go to the design, to the filters, and I have an opacity here. And we can see how I can change this, and it's revealing the other image behind it. Because they have the precisely same sizes, they fit really well together. So here I can then say my default is supposed to be transparent, and on hover it is supposed to be like this. When I now say OK, I can exit the Visual Builder. I could say save and exit. And saving. And now I have a more customized effect on here. Alrighty. That's pretty much it. Now you can just copy it over, and you could use the same technique with the global element that we used for the other example as well. In the next video, we will talk about the menu and some general global settings.